Welcome to a higher frequency of vibration. This is Dose to Dose Podcast. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Dose to dose, let's try to make the most. Let's try to make the most of this life. And when we make the most, then we can taste the most. And we can make a toast to this life. Dose to dose, let's try to make the most. Let's try to make the most of this life. And when we make the most, then we can taste the most. Then we can make a toast to this life.
Welcome back. So, all right, I got a question for you, man, and this is going to be a different
Okay.
So, for everybody watching at home, just a reminder, I am in South Africa. I am alone. I'm not a married man anymore, so I got a lot of time to think and read books. So, my mind go after some of these questions, especially when I'm microdosing. And speaking of microdosing, this is what I'm using currently. This is some of the tabs that we're using from Sacred Sands. Hope you can see it good. Don't know, but do you have anything around you that you're using currently right now, Doug? Reach and grip. We'll get some of it. We'll show that another segment.
Yeah. I have some, but it's not within a reach and grip. I can see it, but I can't grab it.
Yeah, he got all the good products over there, y'all.
That's it.
But so I was watching this thing about Neil Tyson deGrasse. I watch him a lot on YouTube, and he was talking about how the universe is it's a never-ending expansion, so it never stops growing. But then he said on another one that he was like, how every infinity is not the same size. Some infinities are bigger than other infinities. So he's like, you can measure the infinity of time, but then like the infinity of a mass or something, it's not the same size.
Okay.
And so like I started thinking, I'm like, well, if we're all spirit, we all source, and we live in this law of vibration, and at our source, we're some vibrational being, is the universe expansion comparable to each and every last one of us as individuals expand our consciousness?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you would have asked me that 3 or 4 years ago, my eyes would have crossed like this. I'd have been like, what are you talking about? But
shit, if I would have heard it 3 or 4 years ago, I would have just, I was like, it's time to go to bed. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what the hell they talking about.
No, damn, that's deep, man. To be honest with you, I feel like that's a really good point. I do feel like, or I could easily see how the representation of the universe or the universe itself could constantly be growing, seeing as how, each and every one of us are part of the universe, and each and every one of us are consistently growing, and, our spirits are, I could totally see that. I could see that. Yeah. It makes sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Not just because it was said by him, but knowing what I know, it makes sense.
Yeah, because see, for me, I was comparing it to, I was watching a Dave Chappelle comedy about one of his companies. Most of it's inappropriate. Let's just call it what it is. Yeah. But he was talking about, he said a statement of,
go ahead.
Well, not inappropriate, but it may offend some people.
Right.
But he was saying how like the gays of his generation aren't the same gays of this generation. And I really dissected it, and I was listening to it, and I was like, he has a point. If you go back in time to the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, people who considered themselves gay at that time, they were very closeted. It was dangerous for them to come out. Right. They were just wishing and dreaming of the day that they could be accepted and free.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come to this generation now to where they're more accepted, it's open. Usually no matter what country you go to, you can tell if a person is, not being judgmental. You can tell.
Oh yeah.
Certain things are catered for certain people.
Oh yeah.
Much of the world is different. Like everything, no matter what country you go to, is the same. Things catered for women look the exact same. Things catered for men look the exact same. Things catered for kids, elderly people. Like whatever's in America is the exact same in every other country. That's what I mean when I say like you can tell.
Oh yeah.
And so it was just funny to me because it's like, why would you want them to be the same people? Like, why do they have to be stuck in this shell of this identity of what society labeled as a gay person? And then I correlate to like from that 1980s, 1990s time frame to the time frame of where we are now, the universe has expanded so fast and so rapid. Like, and then it's like look at how one group of people changed so rapid to where they're having more liberty, more freedoms, they feel more comfortable in their skin. And I'm like, damn, man, what will we be in like another 5 or 10 years from now? Like, what will just other groups of the society look like? Things that we start letting go.
Gotcha.
I know weird stuff to be thinking. I know, like.
No, I wouldn't say it's weird. I feel like I think it's a really interesting topic. You know what I mean? Like it's causes one to think, to actually think, you know, and to wonder and to kind of imagine. You know what I mean? Like yeah.
Because see, I think we all believe utopia cannot exist, and it's like if hell exists, utopia exists, and it's like I don't feel like we're that far off from a society living a really great life. You know what I mean? Where it's for me being someone who's lived in 4 countries, traveled to about 11 or 12 around the world, like I can say from my experience on this earth and from my experience of what I've experienced as a human being, a lot of the scarcity things in place are all because of mindset. It's not because of this actual scarcity. Even in some of the poorest countries where you see people starving all over, there's still just as much food being thrown away on a daily basis. Like we have to really start looking at the grand scheme of things and stop looking at it from one end of the spectrum. And I think we've been taught to just look at it from hell. You know, like back when you probably had it as a kid where like you tired of eating and then it's like, oh, there's some starving kids in Africa. Yeah, how do you know? Like, you know, like, I know none of my family went to Africa. I'm the first person to come on the continent. So I'm like, how the hell you know? And I ain't seen no starving kid yet since I've been here. But you know what I mean? It's like we've been taught and programmed to think such scarcity. Like, why can't we think in abundance? Like, why we can't think like there's a society where we don't have to work 9 to 5, back-breaking labor 6-7 days a week. You know what I mean?
You know why? Are you ready for this?
Hit me with it.
That good old paradigm, the paradigm. It's that motherfucking paradigm. It's the paradigm, yeah. Paradigm. That's what it is, bro. The paradigm, man. People don't, you know, we get stuck in the same pattern of doing things because, you know, there's no awareness. People aren't aware that they caught in the loop. You know what I'm saying? And then once they do become aware that they're caught up in the loop, it's so much information at once. It's just like, it's hard for them to even fathom that shit is even true. For one thing, that they're even in a loop and that there even is a loop, you know? And then, I don't know. It's just like, I'm not giving excuses, but I'm just going through like my mental process of how, you know, everything unfolded for me. And yeah, just some people don't know, you know what I mean? And, you know, when you introduce it to them, depending on how seasoned and conditioned they have become to their paradigm, you know, it's harder for them to, you know, I felt like, you know, I don't know. I felt like growing up, my entire paradigm, there was something off about it. Not really off. I just kind of felt like I was kind of my feelings and my beliefs led me kind of cross-grain with some of the feelings and beliefs that I was brought up with. And I just kind of, you know, it kind of makes you feel kind of different when everything is one way around you, you know what I'm saying? But you feel like something's different within you, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. So it's the paradigm, bro. Like, I ain't saying my paradigm hasn't always been strong. I'm just saying, me looking back now, I'm like, oh shit, that's why I felt that way. Like that's